Hey, welcome to Web3 Weekly with your host, Blockstar Technology.
Let's go.
My name is Kosi, and we are starting our weekly podcast. So today we are going to talk about the Ethereum Merge. And as I said, my name is Kosi.
Hi, I'm Craig.
Hey, I'm Charlie.
And I'm Maureen.
And I would also like to introduce Mohammad, who's our special guest, who looks after our smart contracts and comes with an awesome background. So I will let Mohammad give us a quick rundown about his background. Off to you, Mohammad.
Hello, everyone. And my name is Mohammad. I've been actually working in this space since 2017 when I started working on my PhD, and then I was working in security algorithms in my PhD. And then after that, after 1 year of working, I got into the crypto space, working on blockchain stuff and using the blockchain technology to provide more security for actually IoT devices. After my PhD, I started working as a postdoc researcher in a smart transportation center where I applied the blockchain technology into a different concept, the smart transportations and all of this stuff. And then I joined Blockstars like on 18th of June 2021.
Wow.
And since then, I've been working on NFT projects and different, blockchain related stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
Excited to be with you today, guys.
Thank you, Mohammed. All right, let's dive into it. Right. So Ethereum Merge, everyone's talking about it. I think it's only fair that we talk about it as well for our user base. Given that there is just I would say that's like the biggest thing after sliced bread. Maybe, I don't know. It just came out. I didn't even think about it, but given we are already in this space, I think it's good to talk about not too much about the deep dive into the technology itself, because I want this to be a educational or even informational type of podcast, so that we are technical people, we can deep dive into technical. But I think I would like to explain to the general public, like when I say general public, it's like the mom and pops and businesses, what this means to them, like the institutional people, because the technical people, we are already in it, right? So,
Yeah.
and we already know what it is. But I would like to explain. I would like to take this conversation and the discussions down the path of what does this mean to, I don't know, banks or stock brokerage or supply chain or art or health, any of those as well. So think when we are discussing, just please be mindful of our user base who we are targeting. So I would say, like, let's be controversial. There's no right or wrong answer, because we don't know what's going to happen. No one knows, right? All we can do is, at the moment, we can see the benefits. We can see the benefits or the pros and cons, either side. I would like to discuss that and add value to our end users. It's not about, okay, let's all go down the Ethereum. It might or it might not. Whatever it is, I would like all of us to have a good discussion and take this, make this informational and still valid after 10 years. So, alrighty. So on that note, Mohammed, if I ask the question, what is the merge? If you can explain give us a bit of a rundown on what is the merge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So merge, let's say, so actually technically it relates to the consensus algorithm that we are using in a blockchain network. But let's exemplify it. Let's say we're having a car moving at full full at its full pace, like 100 kilometers per hour, maybe.
Yes.
And we want to change fossil fuel based engine with an electric one, which brings us kind of 99.95% energy efficiency compared to previous engine. And not only this one, but also we do not want the passengers or drivers to be aware of this process, not only stopping the car, but also they should. Everything should be the same. Everyone should do their normal job, and then all of a sudden we want to change the engine.
While we are driving. While we are driving.
While we are driving. Exactly.
With passengers.
Yeah.
And then we want to make sure that they're still safe.
That's how big it is. So actually, right now is the consensus algorithm in the Ethereum network is called proof of work, which includes a lot of computational power. Is kind of solving a puzzle to put your blockchain between very big miners,
yes.
And then it is we want, actually, when we say merge, we're merging to a new consensus algorithm in the miner levels, which is called proof of stake, and there would be validators. It's a very very innovative way of handling this decentralized network and having consensus in this network, actually.
Cool. Maureen, what you had to add to this?
I don't want to throw us all off topic so soon, but I love that you mentioned adding to the decentralized network. I think definitely the main changes between proof of work to proof of stake. Do you have a question? Because I think I will derail what I want to say.
Sorry, I guess just to touch on what you said, where it was proof of work
yes.
that consumes a lot of energy. I think it's interesting for people, or it's good for people to understand. It's not just the energy required for the computational power to complete that puzzle, but it's actually a race currently.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had 100 computers all racing to try and get the answer to something first, and you're then changing to a consensus mechanism that, for example, chooses one to do it and have others validate, then it's not just, you've not limited the power that's required, not only just limited the power that's required for that one computer, but you've stopped the other 99 doing it. And that's why it's such a big reduction in the power consumption that's needed, and why this is a really good thing for not only blockchain but for the planet.
And I believe they pick randomly through those, whoever's staking, who's running a validator node, and after the Ethereum merge, so it'll be randomly picked.
Yeah, I think it's 32 validators maybe.
You need 32 Ethereum to
There's
become
also
a
32
validator.
individual validators as well. I'm talking about validating the actual, once they've chosen one to
validate
to do the work, there are then 32 that need to validate.
So does that not then shift into the rich getting richer, or am I missing the point? Because they want Ethereum to go, I heard a debate, that's why I'm bringing it up. They want Ethereum to go to, say, 10,000, which means to have 32 Ethereum. You're thinking about someone that has $320,000 sitting there on the computer ready to validate, so not taking it off. So is that, am I misunderstanding it? That's how I understood it. So doesn't it really limit the...
There's certainly a barrier to entry.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but then someone could have got those 32 Ethereum for $3,200 in 2019 when Ethereum dropped to $80. And you're also going to see staking pools emerge. Like at the moment, one of the main ones I've seen is Lido DAO, where you don't need to have 32 Ethereum. You can have 1 Ethereum, half Ethereum, 0.2 Ethereum, and you can join that into a pool to become your own validator node within that system.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. You just mentioned Lido, finance guys. Now, when you talk about being decentralized,
Yes.
Maureen, talk about it.
I'm dying to say this because I, at first, I looked at the Ethereum Merge because as a response to the ECG, whatever,
Yes.
to reduce power consumption and all of that. But in reality, in my opinion and after my reading, I think that there's huge risk that going across to point of stake is actually going to give the power. We're going to risk getting centralized here because the main pool and stakeholders, it's 67% of them are held by 11 US regulated companies. So that means you're putting essentially regulation in US regulated companies, and we all saw what happened to Tornado Cash.
Yeah.
So my mind is blown. I'm actually, I understand the payoff for power consumption, but this is basically going to turn Ethereum into another CBD coin.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good point because like people who owns the majority of Ethereum is like Binance, Coinbase, Lido Cash, and Kraken.
Yes.
Now, and they're all US regulated, and then given that how US like with the
But in saying that, are they holding those tokens on behalf of their users?
It doesn't matter. It's front end.
It's front end, right? So what happens with that is now with that Tornado Cash, now the US government bringing sanctions against the code. What means is now if they want to operate in the US, they had to adhere to the US law. And given like what people like DXDY and Uniswap, where they would control from the front end, and we have Alchemy, and then Infura, and they're doing from the RPC level, and then you got the what you call the Ether scan. So then they're looking at the very execution level. So there's a lot of going to be centralized.
Yeah, especially after we've seen what has happened in the past couple of years with censorship alone.
Yes.
So if you're looking at companies, if they go across to this, they're at the mercy of US regulations. It's basically, it's gone down the road of centralization, and it's not even, I think they won't see the effects straight away, but it will definitely, you will see I can't say without a doubt, but I would assume, this is not legal advice or financial advice, let's get that off the table, that within the next year or two, you'll see the effects of this, of giving the power of consensus and block function to US companies, US regulation.
I know many years ago, there was some clampdown on exchanges, crypto exchanges, and what happened is there was countries that were clamping down on them, and because we're in a global market, it just matters where that business is registered. So a lot of businesses moved to Malta that had very crypto friendly. They just closed down shop, went to Malta, still serviced everybody that they usually were serviced, but they weren't held under that jurisdiction's
But
regulation.
That being said, are we assuming, because I got some numbers before this because I thought I'd dig a little deeper and I'm a numbers person. So 67% of the 67%, and that's not a made up statistic, of staking threshold is shared against 11 regulated providers. Lido, which you mentioned, is the largest share of the Beacon depository at 31.6%, followed by Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance at 28.6%. Are we assuming suddenly that these companies are going to up and move to avoid this? There's a big difference between mining pools and staking pools. They have very different functions and the outcomes are very different. I think there's a lot of confusion on the street regarding, people are looking at pie charts and getting confused what the outcome can actually be.
I think as to whether they would move or not would purely come down to the dollar amount, whether it was in their best interest or not.
I see this as, personally, see this as something that's going to play out being very regulated and controlled.
Yeah.
And now the whole crypto future, in terms of regulations, we've seen some very harsh regulations come out, like Tornado Cash. The lead developer was arrested. So what message is that sending?
That's still in court at the moment. He's been arrested, but it hasn't played out and been finalised on.
I know, but this is the first time.
Yeah. So I mean, like, look, we can talk about it, like quite deep. But so if we just come right back, I mean, that's something that we had to, we still don't know what is right or wrong answer, but we just want to talk about it, so that people are aware of it. It doesn't mean that it will, I don't know, as Maureen says, not financial advice. So we're not saying the market will crash. Ethereum is that's done and dusted. But as always, market is the market. It's right. It does its own thing.
It will decide.
And I'd just like to add to that, if that ever does happen, there's also the situations of just hard forking off that and redistributing those funds to the other percent that aren't regulated in America. So there's different ways of it. The blockchain is adaptive and can move on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the things like, okay, let's walk through so that we can ask Mohammad some really cool questions.
Sorry,
so
I knew not to ask me a question at the start there.
So Mohammad, that you mentioned, so that we had the Beacon chain that was started in 2020 and parallel to the mainnet for such a long time, and so far what it has been doing is so what is the process? So at this time, the Beacon chain has been just keeping the account balances, while the mainnet has been keeping track of the transaction, the execution layer, the transaction, and then the account balances, all of it. So with the merge happening, imminent. So what is going to happen at the merge at that point? Is the mainnet going to join the Beacon chain, or the Beacon chain is going to join the mainnet? What does it have? What's going on?
Kazi, should we just sum up for our viewers I know you said the main chain and the Beacon chain, but as we
I think that's a good question.
The main chain is the proof of work chain using hardware to mine, but it has for many years. The Beacon chain has been running as the proof of stake mechanism that we're about to join together, and from there we'll give it to Mohammed.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes.
Yeah. So as you guys said, right now we are having an execution layer actually and a consensus layer.
Yeah.
So the consensus layer is the Beacon chain that you mentioned that is working based on proof of stake consensus algorithm, and the historic mainnet or execution layer is still running based on proof of work. So what we expect post the merge is that this execution layer or the historic mainnet layer would merge into the Beacon chain or a consensus algorithm or the consensus layer, which means that everything in the network would be coordinated and controlled by proof of stake on the Beacon chain. So we're merging from our execution layer to the consensus layer. So that's what we actually call merge.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
When is this all happening?
What is the date?
Yeah.
I'm not good at that.
Like, does it?
I just know that it is the near future.
I think it's really cool because there's a countdown on Google, a countdown timer, and the merge is represented with two bears that are slowly coming together. And once the merge is
the polar bear and
the polar bear and the bear, and then once they come together, they're going to make a panda. So even Google, the world's biggest search engine, is getting behind the Ethereum Merge, which is kind of cool.
And that countdown is actually a little dynamic because it's not specifically set for a date and or time.
That's right. What is it based on, Craig?
I'm pretty sure it's based on a particular block number at which point they're going to implement the TTD and
That's right. Oh, you put a word out there. I think
Oh.
now let's talk about the TTD. So yeah, that's right. That's right. So as Craig mentioned, if there's a block, the epoch is been set. And that information got released in August, early part of the August.
I think so.
Came up with these are the variables. So the variables were set, and then we had this, I believe, 6th of this month happened. The first action was taken to for the merge. So now that was the first action. So now that's what makes the now merge to go ahead. So you mentioned TTD.
Yes.
What is TTD? Let's talk about TTD.
It's terminal total difficulty.
All right. What does it all mean?
It's the amount of work that's required to solve the puzzle that we're talking about when we refer to miners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's actually an amount that can be varied.
Okay.
So obviously to be ridiculously difficult when you're all network and you're just starting.
Yes.
And it can increase and increase and increase.
Of course.
But effectively what they've done is when we get to that particular block number at the epoch we've mentioned, is that TTD is going to get exponentially harder to the point where it's no longer financially viable to mine Ethereum on the current mainnet, and you're better off going to proof of stake.
Proof of stake.
So they're forcing people to.
It's encouraging. You can if you want to sit there and mine and pay for power and lose money hand over fist, I'm sure that you're allowed to. But whether that's in your best interest or not is completely different. But that's how they're encouraging people to go to the proof of stake.
I mean that's exactly. I mean, I saw on our Twitter page the meme about comparing the ETH, the machines to yellow pages, because we're going to end up with quite a few yellow pages, and I'm pretty sure that people will use that for a good reason. Otherwise, it's going to create so much of waste, industrial waste that would not be used anywhere else after that. So, all right. So the merge, I think at this stage, I believe the merge is set to be tomorrow afternoon, right? Around about 1.
Depends on which countdown time you look at, but it's
our afternoon, it starts about say 2 p.m.
I did actually look, but I think it might actually be a little later than that now. It might be a little later than that. It might be our tomorrow night, our time, not tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon. So
tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow.
Yeah. 4 p.m. Yep.
Is it
4 p.m.?
So it was at 2 p.m. yesterday. It's 4 p.m.
It's 4 p.m. now.
It's not an exact set time. It depends on
the block.
When that block gets created, and that's an estimate based on what it's currently doing.
Yeah. So Charlie, I think
that on the big screen tomorrow, guys.
Yeah.
I think let's put it on the big screen, and I think we should have a merger celebration ourselves.
Sure.
I think. Let's. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see Maureen is thinking.
I'm just thinking of the food.
Oh, so good. So,
Fusion food.
Yeah, fusion, exactly. Fusion food, right? I think that's the best way to celebrate it, with completely two different food, So it's really cool, all this stuff going. And one of the things that you mentioned, Mohammed, earlier, is that you said, as an example, think of a car, engine being changed while it's driving with passengers on board, and making sure it does not crash or
even slow down.
Slow down for that matter, right? Now, so are we expecting an email from the Ethereum company,
Ethereum support,
saying there going to be a downtime, or how does it work? Would there be a downtime in your? What do you think?
Ideally, there shouldn't be any downtime, because it's been planned to be, to have a very smooth transition. But let's see. I don't think that there would be a downtime, right? because, yeah, technically they have planned for this one for a while. And when I say while, it really means while. Since 2018, people were talking about this transition, and each time they said that, okay, it's not ready yet, and then next year, and finally we are in 2022, and I think that everything is now ready to get merged.
I remember the memes. I remember the memes, Mohammed, of Vitalik looking like a grandpa going, Ep.4 will come next year.
I mean, like saying that it's a big financial platform, right? I mean, like we can always have fun. I mean, we always, I don't know, probably Maureen as well as, being coders somewhat. We have been dabbling in coding, and we know when something is ready, like, and this is like, when people say, oh, let's go live, but when things does not work, no one's going to take responsibility. They're going to still point the fingers at people, right? So, and I completely have empathy towards the developers, the Ethereum Foundation, and what they're doing is great. We just have to have patience, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's not going to disappear. And one of the thing, cool. And I just want to.
And just on that, because it is not easy running a decentralized network.
Isn't it?
Where
right?
You don't know who everyone is. You don't have an email address to contact them. You just have a couple Twitter profiles and hope they listen.
Having your own wallet, you always said it. So it's not easy being your own bank. Well, imagine being that, a million times over. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
No,
its liquidity
exactly.
pools increased.
100%. So the biggest question. So we talk about downtime, and as you said, like because they have been testing on this, like Robstein. I think they recently merged with the Gorelli. I think that's the last test network, and it went so far so good. But there's nothing like going live. We know how it is the day before we go live, right? So it's as exciting and as nervous as he gets, both emotion at the same time, right? So let's fingers crossed, and it'll all work out well.
Well, I'm hoping that the experience is more like being on a train. It's just switching from one track to the next.
To the next
The
track.
passengers are also there. It doesn't need to slow down. It just sort of keeps going. But provided somebody remember to throw that switch.
Yeah, they're going to go in the same. Yeah. So.
And if it does, buy the dip.
No financial advice.
So talking about this, let's go. It's the biggest thing. So one of the reasons that I'll say one of the benefits that people are talking about by going to proof of stake, the biggest thing for the consumer, I would say, this immediate impact is the gas fees, right? So today, if I'm paying, like, I don't know, I love NFTs. There's it's not a secret, right?
No, it's not.
And I'm pretty sure there's someone out there getting rich on my gas fees, right? And so, am I expecting to pay less gas fees, Mohammed?
Okay, so this is a misunderstanding. I think that the gas fee, no, probably not.
Yeah. Sorry, all right.
Yeah, gas fee. When we were talking about gas fee depends on the complexity of the code or complexity of the transaction you want to have on a network. So when you want to send some native token to someone else, it would be kind of 21K, very pretty, simple transaction. When you want to introduce the whole DAO or the whole organization into the network and then deploy it on the Ethereum, it would be tens of millions of gas fee involved because it's a complex logic you want to introduce into the network. So you should expect that this consensus algorithm or change in the consensus algorithm would affect the gas fee or the usage of gas fee. But what we expect is that because, and I want to mention these things, I think that it's important to notice that, first of all, because it's going to be a real green network in terms of carbon footprint and all of this stuff, then it would open up a gate to lots of institutions. So we will see more and more institutions that are avoided joining the community before that. Because of the energy consumption, because of the environmental problems, and their policies, we have seen them that they couldn't join or they couldn't get on board into the Ethereum network. But now it opens up this gate and allow them to actually join us. And then it comes with its, let's say, benefits in terms of security of the network. And it makes the network more secure and more participants involved in the network. I know that, Maureen, you may not agree with me, but it also, because the next step after the merge would be this surge one. So we would have more techniques coming after this merge. For sharding technique, we can't have it right now because we are using proof of work.
Yeah.
If you want to securely use the sharding, you should have proof of stake. If you use sharding in your network, then you can effectively decrease the congestion level in the network, and then finally it means that transactions would be cheaper. So it would affect the cost of transaction. Because right now, the problem is not gas fee to me. The problem is most of the time is congestions in the network. So when you have the congestion in the network, too many users wants to put their transaction into the blocks.
Yes.
You should pay more and more to the miners. If you can solve these issues, then there would be definitely decrease in the cost of transactions. But gas fees, no.
Mohammad, could you just quickly explain for anyone listening what sharding actually is?
Yeah. So sharding is by sharding we means that the splitting network data into smaller chunks. So we're splitting them into different shards. At first, these shards would be only gathering all of the transaction and put them through into the mainnet, but eventually each of these shards would be independent blockchain. And then we would have effective, cross-shard communication, which effectively and optimally control the whole network in terms of transactions. And we're aiming, after the roadmap is complete, right now, the Ethereum network is processing kind of about 15 transactions per second. But after the sharding and everything, after this merge and sharding and everything is complete on the roadmap, we expect it to be 100,000 transactions per second, which is a huge difference. And when you can handle this number of transactions on the network, it means that it would effectively decrease the costs of transactions.
I think it's important to note, just in its simplest terms, at the moment, the miners are rewarded for doing that work. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Hence, that's the gas fees. That's
of
where
course.
the gas fees go,
Running
right?
Someone got to pay.
buying hardware,
For doing all
cost of
that.
electricity.
When we go to proof of stake, even though who it is that's doing that work is now randomly chosen, they're still performing that work. You don't stake the 32 ETH to become, a node like that for no reward. So hence, gas fees are still required. So it's not going to eliminate them.
Yes.
And because they're still doing the same amount of work, the gas fees are the same. As Mohammed mentioned, the gas fees will come down when we get
further down the track. So, so I believe then in that case, we'll get. I'll start paying less gas fees maybe some point of mid 2023.
Well,
or
it depends. How long did this merge take?
all right.
And I've just got a question on that one, Mohammed. So you said the saving of energy. So Ethereum would use less energy than the world banking system after the merge? Doesn't have to be too precise.
Yeah. Just say yes.
Just a crypto bro question.
I mean, that's a really good point.
More energy efficient, but no, I actually don't know that. Would it be like this or not? The only thing that we can say for sure is that compared to the current state, it would be 99%, decrease in the energy consumption.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
compared to the banking system, no idea.
They've got to run a lot of lights and print a lot of paper, man.
Doesn't that also depend on how many participants you then have in this network?
Well, I think
Or are you referring to validators only?
that is.
Validators,
Yeah.
Not the entire network.
I think even with the entire network, still it'd be a lot far less. Again, like we spoke about earlier, just on touch base while you're on in this subject that being centralized and again like once you send the only reason why they show the centralization is that people are going to start. They couldn't manipulate what goes in there. They can be the bad actors, but I would like to sort of put it out there, like obviously, if they do anything bad, they get penalized very harshly because now you're putting your own, funds in there, locking your funds in there. So there's a really good algorithm already built in to handle those, the social and there's quite a few.
Actors.
Yeah, exactly. Bad
So
actors.
There are penalties for it, and I think it's not a huge concern because I don't think it's going to be a big thing.
Yes.
I think the censorship as far as that centralization is a bigger issue
Yeah.
than anybody trying to do anything untoward.
Untowards, yeah. No, that's exactly it. So, so I just want to talk about going green, right? So we spoke about the immediate impact is the gas fees. And I would say the long-term benefit for the future of the Ethereum platform or for the blockchain as a whole is about going green. And then, Mohammed, you mentioned you put a number out there saying 99, and I've seen some numbers like 99.95 and all those. So we can see that the energy consumption goes down. And I just want to just ask everyone in this shall I call it panel? What are your thoughts on Shiba Inu? I don't know.
We'll start with Craig.
Yes, Craig.
What am I thought?
Let's go by the most holding person, the least holding person.
Come on, Craig. Say the saying.
I
Say
don't
your
have
famous saying.
I don't have thoughts. I have hopes.
You had hope. Okay.
I have hopes.
Let's talk about it
Like I said,
because now.
and I haven't even counted, but I just generally say that it only needs to rally 50 decimal places,
Yes.
and I'll be right. So ship to $1. That's all I can say.
So
ship to $1.
yeah, I mean, like what I'm saying is like there are so many other currencies. Say for example, if you talk about the L2, right? Chains as well. So what would the impact be on those L2 solutions once it goes to POS? What do you call proof of stake?
I don't know whether it'll impact the price, but just while we're back on that same topic,
Yes.
What's a SHIB worth? Like if I had to display it, it's about that much, right?
Yeah.
If the dollar was here, you ship somewhere around.
Yeah, but there are like billions of them.
Yeah, I know there is, but it still costs.
Mm-hmm.
Gas fees and computing power, even just to move these around with very, very little value. So by reducing the amount of computing power required and therefore carbon footprint,
Yes.
It'd be like using 16 road trains to move a box of matches at the moment is probably the comparison I would make to that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of overkill.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see Ethereum becoming the security settlement layer, where I think if you've got something and I won't go too deep into it.
Yes.
I'll be here for hours. But the triple halvening, I've spoken to you.
I think I definitely would like to touch. I got a question here to talk about triple halvening, because I think that's super important to talk about, because then it goes like I want to talk about the deflationary. What is deflationary? What is inflationary?
Yeah.
Because that's a.
So with the triple halvening of the price of it, we talk about it now, or
I think let's circle back after this
we'll
point.
circle
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yes.
Triple halvening. Say with that, Ethereum price goes up and it's deflationary. There's a whole heap locked away in stake. There's a bunch getting burnt. And then it's real expensive, like USD value. If you go and buy E for USD now and that value's 20, 50 times as much now, I can see the layer 2s gaining that traction as layer 2s emerging, and Ethereum just being that settlement security layer where the actual layer 2 pools are communicating and having to buy Ethereum to bulk their transactions together and settle them. Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. No one knows, but
no one knows. I think this is all speculation, guys. It's all speculation.
But the game theory there is quite interesting. Yeah.
Tell us a bit about the game theory, do you?
I think we'll keep it for another session, game theory, because it's a whole different subject. What I would like to talk. My next point that I got here is about the triple halvening. So Charlie, I'll ask the question: what is triple halvening?
So triple halvening is something going around in the ecosystem crypto universe through the crypto bros, where not many people have known, but Ethereum never had a max supply, so it just keeps getting mined, keeps getting produced. Yes. With the merge, there's actually a burn function in there. Off the top of my head, I believe it's the 1159.
1559.
1559. Yeah, there's a lot of numbers there. And what happens is on each transaction, a percentage of that fee paid gets burnt out of existence. So say you've got, I wish I had a whiteboard up there, but say you've got 100 Ethereum, and let's say 50 of those get put into staking for validator nodes.
Yes.
So if you think of it like stocks or shares, so there's 50 taken out validating the system.
Yeah.
So you've now only got 15 there to purchase on with liquidity and buy from exchanges, whatever you want to do.
Yes.
And then in that 50, a percentage of that on each transaction day, I believe, on the last study I'd done a few months ago, there was over 50 million US dollars that had been burnt, that had been sent into burn. And so that's, you've got 50 taken out, you're now getting out of the 50 you've got left, you're getting that burnt for every transaction. And then there's 1, 2. And then for the third one is now people don't need to spend money on mining equipment or electricity.
Yes.
So that money can then go into buying the actual Ethereum tokens themselves, so they can go switch those into validator nodes or hodl them or do whatever they want with them. And then there's the 3 big changes coming into the Ethereum merge and surrounding the triple halvening that people have been talking about quite a bit.
Sure. What is your take on that, Mohammad?
So actually the other effect of this merge would be completing this EIP 1559. So we had it like last year August, this kind of deflationary program for making the native coin of Ethereum valuable, because there's no cap like Bitcoin there. So another effect of this merge would be, it would decrease the gross inflation of Ethereum, which currently stands at 4% or something, to 0.5%. So I think that is another, considerable effects in another, deflationary program for the main Ethereum network. And the effects on the layer 2 networks, I think that because the security is actually very, very important. As I said, that we are have limitations of using too many, techniques right now because of this consensus algorithm. When we solve this issue, it would open up a huge opportunity of using different techniques.
Yes.
To make the network more and more secure. Then, so it's been estimated that when you transfer from a proof of work to proof of stake consensus algorithm, it makes it 10 to 20 times harder for attackers to hack the system, which means that definitely we will have a more secure network then. And this is one of the main concerns of all of these dApps, layer 2s, and all of this stuff. So it would considerably help them to, pick the fruits, and this is what would be provided for them.
Cool.
In the network, and more and more, adoption.
Okay. So okay, let's stick with the word adoption, right? Touch base earlier with regards to the whole merge we are bringing. I think Craig is crying. Is it happy tears or
Ship hasn't gone up.
okay? Ship hasn't gone up. Okay, so with regards to adoption, just because now we're saying okay, it's like the mass adoption, the institutions and like the big players now could come in, but we are saying okay, look, sharding is not there yet, and there are a couple of other bits that needs to be happen. They're not there, so from what I am seeing is rather than waiting for them to come and then start developing your platforms, I think a lot of these companies should start looking now, because those features will be getting implemented within months, as we know, to trial a platform, to work through a platform, go through the test phase, and really understand whether a project needs a blockchain. We have to go through some of those things as well. And I think, what is your take on, if you start from you first, Mohammed, what is your take on, what is your advice to institutions or the businesses? Think of maybe B2B or B2C. We already know that it's happening in B2C with regards to NFTs, but in the B2B, what would it happen really to the B2B space?
Mm-hmm. I think that, as I mentioned earlier, that would be a huge opportunity for institutions to get on board, to join the Web3, community. And I think that most of them, actually, a lot of them are keeping eye on it to see what is going on actually, and what will be the result of this merge, because everyone is talking about it. And then, but I do have the concerns that Maureen has also, the problem of censorship and everything related to this one. But bearing in mind, we we are humans, so, and we are very smart enough that when we feel like it's going to be censorship there, it's going to be kind of different or hidden dictatorship dictates to the rest of the network, again something new would come up. Like Bitcoin itself. So why we have Bitcoin itself at the first place? So because people think that, okay, we are done with you. We don't want any central node to control us. We want a decentralized network. Okay. Now we are on a good path of getting more and more experienced in this, space, and then we don't know. We actually don't know what is going to happen in this network after this merge. But even when you feel that there's a censorship, there is kind of Big Brother watching all of us. There would be another spaces. So, and migration. I'm a big fan of this kind of migration to new platforms.
Yes.
And with and what I see here is that another experience in terms of optimization and technical optimization and technical efficiency, then having these experience, we can migrate to a completely new space. And because we all want it to be the digital, realm to be kind of democratized, and yeah, that's so. Look at it and just consider it as another experience in this path. Yeah, that's what I see. Yeah.
Thank you. What about you, Craig? What is your take on the the merge, like, for institutions, right? What do you think, like, should they start now, should they wait for it, or do they wait for the sharding, or should they take the opportunity? There's only few people getting on board on the Web3 blockchain space. Some people don't know what they don't know, but when is the time?
Even waiting for the merge, waiting until we've got sharding or anything of that, it's pretty much going to make very little difference to the actual core of the application, how any application function.
Mm-hmm.
It may make it cheaper and therefore lower the barriers for entry for consumers.
Yes.
But you want to be ready to do that as soon as that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think anybody that is even considering or has, a use case for blockchain should at least be investigating whether it's beneficial to them in their current business model right now.
So when you say investigating, it's more like saying do your own research, right? DYOR, right?
Well, your own, talk to somebody that knows, talk to us. It doesn't really matter. But look, we know, as you touched on, not everything needs blockchain.
Yes.
We're not saying everything should be crammed into the blockchain, but it has some really unique, and I say unique, that's not to say that they're limited, but it has some really good qualities that it can bring to help businesses in their current endeavors.
Off to you, Charlie.
So from me, I'd say yes, and someone who I watch every now and again would be Kevin O'Leary.
Yep.
Mr. Wonderful, Shark Tank. He's pushing forward in America he's working on one thing at the moment, and that's to bring forth regulation into stable coins and legislation for international settlements. And that's his main goal at the moment.
Yeah.
And he loves DeFi with earning interest, decentralized finance, 10%. He's getting involved in that, and he's done his risk assessment and worked on that, and he's got a percentage in his investment companies where they're holding Ethereum for that exact reason. And at the moment, he's just pushing forth with legislation and regulation around stable coins, as they're a far better settlement tool than what the banking system is using today.
Cool. All right. So it's a good thing for businesses to get involved.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's not even the business process themselves. It might be an offshoot, as we were saying.
Yes. Off to you, Maureen. What is your take on this?
I think to answer the question directly, when you ask about Web3 and what's happening, I think it's really important for us to get that separation between crypto and blockchain. I think there's still so many use cases. Like the best use case for blockchain, they haven't even come up with it yet. Yeah. So if you're not in this space now and you're not working towards being a part of this technology and you're not adapting, if you don't adapt, you die. All right, you will fall behind. And I think people should embrace it. Like, I think they need to separate cryptocurrencies that's just an application that's built on top of the infrastructure. But there are so many things that we can do with this technology. And I think that people should start playing with it. People should start getting familiar with it, like trial and error. You have to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
So
disrupt yourself before someone else
disrupts you. But again, I would like to say, a lot of businesses don't know what they don't know, right? So, in the 90s, we heard, when we were talking about, I don't know, not even the 90s, maybe 2000s, doing online shopping. There were people not happy to put their credit card details or any of that, right? And then
What about the Y2K? Do you remember that?
Y2K.
When everyone like freaked out, they shut down. They thought like, what's going to happen when the clock ticks over?
I think
People
this is like
didn't
a
fly. Like it was, you know, because people are just afraid. It's human nature to fear what you don't know and to don't understand.
100%.
That's the verse Netflix.
Yeah, and I think there's and there's you know, and I say that obviously I heard from somewhere else, like, you know, that you don't have to know the technology to embrace it. Right? Because I mean, we do that every single day. I use it as saying, you know, I drive the car, but I have no idea what's inside it. How does it operate? But I still drive the car.
That's definitely valid to me. I have no idea how it works.
Exactly. Apart from Craig and Charlie, right? So, so I think it's important for businesses to have a discussion, have a price, and then some, you know, and when we, you know, spoken to a couple of people in the finance sector, actually not a couple of, a few people in that finance sector, you know, a couple of people did say that, you know, like, oh, why should we, you know, accept cryptocurrency, because we are it's already working for us, you know. And then for me, I thought of, okay, you know, that's like saying, you know what, why should I go on online when I can put my business on Yellow Pages?
Yeah.
You know, and I think this space is moving so fast, and I think the business owners who are scared to jump, going to find it more difficult moving forward to adjust. But saying that we are still early, there's a, you know,
just because something works today doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow or the week after. Like, what's good now, if you're not moving in the same direction that everything else is moving, and you go back, like, to stand still is actually to go backwards.
Go back. So, and you know, Ethereum is moving forward. It was working fine, but I think there's always, you know, what you can do is you can always improve. So, so Ethereum Merge, you know, it's happening, and you know, just crossed. Tomorrow is the big day.
So just really quickly, just do remember that this is only the first of several coming steps.
So it's like what you're saying is it's a foundation for the house.
Yeah.
And then the house gets built on it, and then you get the, you know,
Absolutely.
everything else. So, but without this merge, nothing can be done.
That's correct.
Right.
Put in the second story on an old house. Single story house.
Cool. All right. Awesome. What we'll do is, I think we should have go live with the whole merge party. Merge party. I think, Mohammed, we wish you could join us. Maybe not physically, maybe remotely. And you know, I think we should have a fusion party. It's gonna be good. But I think it's so good to be part of this journey, right? All of us are like in this, and we can always look back and say, like, look, this is what the you know, proof of work, and now it's proof of stake, and a lot of people are in it. And when I say a lot of people, we are still a so tiny number of people. So, and that's the reason why we are doing this podcast, is to make people understand. Look, everything's changing, constantly changing. It's no one was born experts at it, but you can't just become an expert unless you go through these learnings. You know, and whoever goes to the wall first is going to end up with the cuts and bruises. But you know, but it's going to be good because they'll know which wall to go through next. You know, what to look out for. But you know, I think that's important for us to, you know, keep on doing things rather than not. So,
absolutely.
Any points from you guys? Anything else you're going to talk about? If not, yes.
I would just like to say thank you to Mohammed.
Yes. Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
You are welcome. I know that we are building some really cool products, Mohammed, and I am so excited to really. We can't wait. We're going to be at this weekend.
Yes.
Where are we?
Crypto convention.
And we're going to be at
the
so we're going to be at the crypto convention this weekend. And we would love to, you know, talk to you guys and come and talk to us about, you know, what your ideas and things like that.
Are we going to have like a booth?
Yes, so
Yeah.
we'll be at 20. We're going to be with
Who's 20?
we're going to be with one of our partner companies over there, and yeah, so we're super excited. And also, just to drop an alpha, we're going to do something cool during the CryptoCon convention time. And yeah, so we'll see that we'll be there Saturday and Sunday, both
That's great.
days. It's going to be an awesome time and looking forward to seeing everyone.
Thank you,
Cool.
Cozzy.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
See you
Bye.
next time. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place.
Subscribe.